So the minority caucus in parliament, which happens to be the New Patriotic Party (NPP), also kukuruku amayuku no ene wamo ede krata tintintintin ene wamo no masam de abetudwa we no concentrate ede akọ ama yewura John Dramani Mahama Ghana mampani srem sejata won de krata tintin ede akọ akoma na wode amane no na wamo kire se wamo akomremu a Ghana Marano, the 1992 constituency and a constitution. Constitution. So komwa emresi ho kwan se hunu se sika egu ka mu asanye dollar emresi ho kwan I stand to be corrected. Eno na Sammy Gyamfi wo ba ban mu no waye entino with immediate effect. Yero John Dramani Mahama on sacking. Yes, on suspending. One more just Yero John Dramani Mahama. One come renmunko ready what the Lord says. Now one for some marani nyejuma. One pamuno, one kanati, proper tikra, na one free nap and ne position ne appointees. One free. And people for just one man in free. Sansa watumbra. Na me adi we can shada nye issue papa biya mami because but the money issue is a Sammy Gyamfi kuru yai. When they were in opposition, what can be? At the channel now can be to the Ghana and penny for say. So we who said dollar and ask can be good came only busano one tangible reason was signed to the dean. To we know aqua kusini de numu pepe. Overswatch award, you know, timbre.
Among the several laws breached by the National Communications Officer and the acting CEO of Good Board are the Foreign Exchange Act, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and then also the Code of Conduct, which was outlawed by His Excellency the President just about a week ago, exactly a week ago. Among the several laws breached by Sammy Gyamfi are Section 3, 1, and 4 of the Foreign Exchange Act, Act 723, which prohibits a person engaging in the business of dealing in foreign exchange without a license issued under the Act. Dealing in foreign exchange under the Act includes the receipt or payment of foreign currency, which Sammy Gyamfi is seen to have been doing in the video. The law, in its letter and spirit, prohibits stacking of dollars as it maintains the Ghana cedi as the sole legal tender. The cedi is the sole legal tender. We don't have multiple legal tenders in Ghana. You would recall that the Bank of Ghana has over the years issued several notices cautioning that without an authorization from the Bank of Ghana, no person is permitted to advertise, price, pocket, receive, gift, make payment of goods and services in foreign exchange, including United States dollars. And this action by the Bank of Ghana is important because it helps in stabilizing our city. The penalty for such violation includes a fine or imprisonment up to 18 months. Exactly a week ago, President Mahama unveiled the code of conduct for his appointees, and the president is reported to have said that the code of conduct articulates the core values his administration expects from appointees. Please pay attention. The core values his administration expects from his appointees: integrity, honesty, impartiality, respect, decency, incorrigibility, competence, and professionalism. The president further stressed that all conduct must meet standards capable of withstanding closest public scrutiny. Section 1.2 of the code. Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is required to manage his personal affairs in a manner that withstands the closest public scrutiny. And under Section 1.3, he was to take responsible care to maintain the integrity and reputation of the office he holds. Unsurprisingly, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, like an incorrigible child, has blatantly violated both obligations under the code, and the President must, in accordance with Section 6 of his pledge, at page 9 of the code, deal swiftly and decisively with Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. It's important. The President launched this code. As I mentioned earlier, it was well publicized. It received a lot of commendation from so many people. Now, a week or just less than a week, this happens where his own appointee is seen displaying opulence. We find ourselves in a very distressed situation. And yet, if you have your appointee who is doling out dollars, that is serious. And we call on the President. If the President is unable to act on this matter, then the code of conduct must be shredded. It's of no use. It's useless. If the President is unable to act on this matter, ladies and gentlemen, the irony of the present circumstance is that not only was Mr. Sammy Gyamfi a loud critic of Honorable Cecilia Dapaah for some months ago, but he was equally very critical of Her Ladyship Justice Tokuno a few weeks ago because the Judicial Service paid for tickets in dollars, although this was the required currency transaction in such matters and also well situated within the travel policy of the Judicial Service. We say without fear of contradiction that in the absence of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi providing direct evidence of the source of funding, thousands of United States dollars found in his car, seen in the video widely of unlawful or criminal enterprise by Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. Section 1 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Act 1044, makes the possession, concealment, conversion, disguise, or transfer that is or forms part of an unlawful activity an offense punishable by a term of imprisonment or up to 10 years. Do not forget that this is the same section, the same provision Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, the same provision he used in criticizing Madame Cecilia Dapaah. And he says that it was clear. This is the same provision. We call on the lawful establishment investigative agencies of state, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and the Criminal Investigation Department, CID of Ghana Police, to investigate the activities of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi in his short tenure as acting chief executive officer. And again, you are being told that all appointees, including ministers, they have not even received their salary since they had the appointment. All of them. That is the information we have. To investigate the activities of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi in a short tenure as acting chief executive officer of both PMMMC and the Ghana Gold Board. These bodies must search all his houses, probe any properties acquired in his stay so far in government, and if possible, prosecute him for failure to show the source of huge sums of money found in his possession, out of which he gleefully sprayed some around. And we all saw the video. We all saw the video and how he counted the dollars as if it was a counting machine. Very, very fast. And afterwards, and you could saw where he even picked the money from. You could see that, yes, you have a lot of it stacked in there. And then how he gleefully was counting the money to Madame Agrada. And then Madame Agrada also, out of insufficient spirit, grabbed all. obviously saw that there were a lot of dollars stuck in there. So that is how come she could again grab all the dollars. And this is a serious matter. We note that Section 55(2) of Act 1044 stipulates that in a trial for an offense under the Act, an accused person, in this case, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, may be presumed to have unlawfully acquired a property if the accused person is in possession of a property which the accused person cannot account for and which is disproportionate to a known source of income of the accused person. Note that he has not taken any salary since his appointment. So clearly, the money he doled out obviously is disproportionate to his income. We also call on the President to immediately interdict Mr. Sammy Gyamfi as an acting Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Gold Board. Or at least, he should interdict him pending the conduct of the investigation by the criminal investigative authorities of the state. We cannot but remember when huge sums of money, and this is the principle here, please let's pay attention. We cannot but remember that when huge sums of money was reported to have been stolen from the residence of Madam Cecilia Dapa, a woman who had worked in high places for over 40 years before the incident, had been NP since 2001, as well as a deputy minister and also a minister. And she is married to a well-known rich architect and a consultant, well-known, with nearly 60 years experience in the profession. She was made to resign. This principle is cardinal. Under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a similar issue happened. Madam Cecilia Dapa was made to resign immediately by the President. Investigations were duly conducted by the OSP against Madam Cecilia Dapa and her husband. After what the OSP described as 7 months of extensive investigation and 4 months of collaborative investigation, it concluded that their investigation did not establish any evidence of corruption, corruption-related offenses, or procurement breaches against the suspect. We require the same standard to be applied here. Same standard to be applied here. And let me also say that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi again is on record on several TV programs during the Madam Cecilia Dapa saga, and I quote him, "Once money is found in your custody and you cannot account for the money, and that money is disproportionate to your income, you shall be deemed to have committed the offense of money laundering." Madam Cecilia Dapa resigned during the whole brouhaha, as I said, and again we require the same principle to be applied. Again, on the matter of Her Ladyship Chief Justice Tokuno, in an interview with Asempa FM Okusisen, he stated that the Chief Justice should be sacked for using state funds in dollars in her medium of exchange instead of the Ghana cedis, which is exactly the same act he engaged in last Saturday. Per his own assertions, then it means he must be sacked. That is exactly what he said. And these are principles. And this is his own sword. And he must. He must be on his own sword. Even more ironical is the fact that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi presently heads the Gold Board, This is very important matter, and this is issue of governance, which is being touted by this government as being the backbone for the stabilization of the cedi through the maintenance of sufficient gold reserves. Do not forget that the establishment of the gold board, one of the arguments for the establishment of the gold board was to centralize all businesses, all dealings regarding gold, to stabilize the cedi. This argument was made widely. If Mr. Gyamfi, the CEO who is responsible for maintaining sufficient reserves to support, to help, and to prevent the depreciation of the cedi, to stabilize the cedi, possesses dollars in his daily routine. And we say daily routine because when you go for a funeral 1 week and you have dollars packed in your car, then the indications are that that is your modus operandi in terms of spending. That is how you spend. That is the money you use. Because if you are just going for 1 week and you have tens of thousands of dollars in your car. Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, again, then clearly he has no confidence in our cedi. And if you are superintendent over an institution which, as part of its mandate, is to help stabilize the cedi, that is the only legal tender, and I've already mentioned that. And if you have the head who superintends over this institution doling out dollars instead of the cedi, then it means that the person or the CEO, acting CEO, lacks confidence in the Ghanaian cedi. And that is key. And that is the more reason why we are of the view, the New Patriotic Party, and I speak for the party, we are of the view that if he is unable to stand firm, if he is unable to defend the cedi, if he is unable to protect the cedi, and he will rather be displaying dollars, then it means he cannot superintend over the same institution seeking to stabilize the cedi with gold reserves. But let me also state on record that under the gold purchasing program of the New Patriotic Party, our gold reserves as a country, which stood at 8.7 tons, for the last 40 to 50 years, grew to about 30.53 tons as at the fourth quarter of 2024. This program is one of the major reasons why
I was joining someone, NPP, the minority caucus in parliament, the mighty minority. One more added to na minority, you know, I don't know. A woman is so shadow, minority, woman is so shadow. One more just say, you're John Romani Mahama with immediate effect. One take a decision and send a party no Ghana for anyone who on a party no. Whatever mobile watch, I want to subscribe to YouTube channel like Rafi, share from which it's in Benji. It did your demand come about and a coffee from Ashanti.